Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. It's been nearly 2 years, 2 whole years, can you believe it, since The Mandalorian Season 2 came out, and even though the Book of Boba Fett gave us 2 outings of Mando greatness, I missed the show very dearly. We've got 5 months to go until Season 3, and today my dear friends, I hope you're excited. We've got a lot of Mando news to get through, and we begin with some new comments by Giancarlo Esposito at Fan Expo in Canada. First of all, he teases that a Mandalorian game might be in the works. He heard that the writer of Far Cry is moving on to a Star Wars game by Massive, and that's going to be made in Sweden. Giancarlo said he wants to call him up and ask him to put Moff Gideon in it. As of right now though, no further details are known. All I can say is a Mandalorian game would be amazing, but the most important thing that Giancarlo said was a big tease for his role in Season 3. He spoke about Imperial Wardens and how many of them are spread across the galaxy. He says a lot of them are, quote, hoping to maintain order, but he also says that the Wardens are not as strong as Gideon is, and his biggest goal is to gain power over all of them. He finished by teasing that his iconic line, "Long live the Empire," was said for a reason, and this reason is going to be revealed in the 3rd season. This heavily teases the cloning subplot and the Remnants' desire to bring Palpatine back. A lot of the recent updates for The Mandalorian all point to the creation of Strandcast very soon, and from the sounds of things, that's what Season 3 is going to explore, building upon Chapter 12. All signals point towards it, and from the sounds of things, this season is going to be very dark, but absolutely incredible. Really cool stuff, and now my dear Mandalorians, we move on to new comments from Jon Favreau, which seem to confirm a major fan theory concerning the upcoming 3rd season. It involves Din, Bo, the Armourer, and new Mandalorians, which we saw in the celebration footage. So no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So one thing to note right off the bat that cannot be overstated is that Season 3 is going to be very different to the previous 2. Both seasons so far have been distinct and evolutionary, and the 3rd is going to be no exception. Now the biggest change in my opinion going forward is the position of Grogu. Din's main objective until this point was finding the Jedi to return Grogu to, but now that the little guy has decided to stay with his adoptive father, Din's mission and priorities have changed. For one thing, we know in Season 3 is going to go to Mandalore to try and seek the living waters for atonement, but on top of this, there are other things to worry about as well. We know that Giancarlo Esposito teased that Moff Gideon's going to be let out of prison very soon, and he's out for revenge. But another major plot device is the Darksaber, which Din now wields. Bo-Katan in the Season 3 trailer shown at Celebration did not come across as friendly as she was in Season 2. I think she's now ready to challenge Din. But personal goals aside to win the saber in combat, Din is also going to have to deal with other Mandalorians who no doubt will see him wielding the saber and expect him to be some sort of leader. Many fans until now have theorized that a central conflict in Season 3 is going to be a Mandalorian civil war, some kind of conflict between the tribes. Although to some a civil war might seem like the natural progression of events, there was no evidence for this theory until recently. In a new interview with Jon Favreau, he revealed plot details which may have confirmed the civil war theory. In his own words, he explained that there are many factions of Mandalorians that we're going to meet, each with their own set of rules that we've not necessarily come across before, different rules to the Night Owls and different rules to the tribe. Now while these groups have been scattered in exile, the Mandalorian Season 3 is going to see them coming together, and Jon Favreau says this is going to be on Mandalore. He also hints that this coming together might not necessarily be a good thing. He specifically mentions a clash in ideologies and opinions, and naturally that's going to happen when you have these different clans and subgroups of Mandalorians coming together, each with their own beliefs and views on how the sacred homeworld should be organized, not to mention the fact there's a lot of emotion involved. For the most part, Mandalorian life has been scorched and torn by the Empire, and Mandalorian culture and values have been scattered across the galaxy, so coming together again might be very challenging, and this could very well lead to some kind of civil war. That's what Jon Favreau is saying. This would take the series in a new direction altogether, allowing the 3rd season to delve deeper into both Djarin's character but also Mandalorian culture. He's not met too many Mandos outside the tribe, and as I mentioned before, this would be the perfect opportunity to have Sabine Wren come into the picture. So a big question is, what would a Mandalorian civil war mean for the Mandalorian's 3rd season? Well, for one thing, this would present Din Djarin with his most complex problem yet. During the Book of Boba Fett, Mando learns that the only way to redeem himself from removing the helmet is to enter the living waters in Mandalore's mines, but since they were destroyed, as the Armourer said, finding them is going to be an impossible task. But what Favreau could do is make fans believe that the plot is Din trying to find the living waters, but along the way he gets swept up by the mayhem that is the conflict and politics between the surviving Mandalorian tribes. This is going to connect to Bo-Katan, Star Wars Rebels, and also it allows the third season to explore Din's character as he tries to find balance between his goals and those of his people. And to be honest, I don't know how Grogu is going to play into all of this, but it's going to be very interesting indeed. Now, something particularly fascinating is that until now, Din lived in an isolated faction. The tribe are very insular, and he's going to have to choose what path he takes and if he's ready as the wielder of the Darksaber to take on a leadership role on Mandalore. In all of this, it's going to be invigorating to see how his experiences as a father to Grogu, as an ally to Boba, Fennec, Cara, and so on will play into his evolution as a possible ruler and leader on the homeworld. So based on Jon Favreau's comments, there is an upcoming massive event, a massive nexus, that brings together all of these tribes for better or worse. Let's wait and see, but it sounds epic. I cannot wait to meet all of these new Mandalorians, but I hope amongst some of them, we will see a couple of familiar faces. And one thing in particular I'm super excited for is how they develop the tension between Bo and Din. And speaking of Bo-Katan, my dear friends, we do have a couple of Katie Sackhoff updates, starting with the Mandalorian Season 2 guide, which celebrates Bo-Katan in a new exclusive. Let's dive into it. Titan Comics is about to make that wait between Seasons 2 and 3 a little more bearable, with Star Wars The Mandalorian Guide to Season 2 Collector's Edition arriving on October 11th. In an exclusive with Screen Rant, they got access to an early copy, and they revealed that Bo-Katan is heavily celebrated. Let's dive into the nitty-gritty. Right off the bat, they make one thing very clear: Bo-Katan wants to reclaim Mandalore. While some fans believe that she's happy for Din, this could not be further from the truth. She wants the Darksaber so badly. This is emphasized by the fact that she didn't win it in combat the first time. She was handed it by Sabine Wren, and then she lost it to Moff Gideon, and now she wants it from Din. In the Season 3 trailer, she's very condescending to him, as well as to Grogu. And this issue makes it very clear that while she believes Mandalore is stronger together, with no division, she will do whatever it takes to reclaim the legendary weapon. And while discussing her beliefs that Mandalorians should not fight against one another, the dilemma she finds herself in is fascinating. The guide says, in the eyes of Mandalorians, weapons are not enough. Whoever seeks to rightfully claim Mandalore's throne must be in possession of the Darksaber. In Season 2, Din was reluctant. In the Book of Boba Fett, he was training, and he seems to be very fond of it. But is he going to be up for ruling Mandalore? Another thing I hope Season 3 does is give us more Mando training with the Darksaber. If they're going to use more of Luke, maybe Luke can train him, or maybe Sabine Wren, just as Kanan trained her. Now, one final thing on the Darksaber and the conflict, I want you guys to think back to a video I made in early 2021, where I spoke about how the Darksaber issue might be put aside if a bigger Mandalorian relic or political issue comes up. Now, we do know, or it's heavily speculated, that Christopher Lloyd is playing an elder Mandalorian leader. This is one of two opposing tribes. Now, given the fact that Filoni and Favreau are adding to the canon all the time, there could be a clause somewhere or some kind of old traditional belief that could come up where Bo-Katan doesn't have to fight Din. Maybe there's going to be a bigger challenge that one of them has to face. As fans, we put the Darksaber on a pedestal, assuming it's the be-all or end-all of this conflict. But with the stakes being raised, and Jon Favreau recently teasing big surprises, there could be something bigger to come. Let's wait and see. And so finally, my dear friends, a tidbit for the Andor series. Tony Gilroy has revealed how the Andor series ends, the final episode of Season 2, which they've not even filmed yet. In conversation with the playlist, the showrunner took the unconventional decision to reveal exactly what the end of the series is going to look like, and he simply describes it. He says the last scene of Andor, major spoiler warning, is going to be Cassian walking across the tarmac to get in the ship to go to the rings of Catherine, as we saw at the start of Rogue One. He says Daniel Mays is there and he's going there. So there you have it, my dear friends. Before Andor Season 1's even started, Tony Gilroy's revealed how the show ends in Season 2. It doesn't spoil too much though, we know how Rogue One goes, but it's still interesting he had no issue revealing this. It's pretty rare for a director to simply come out and say exactly what the final shot of the series is going to be. Still, for me personally, it doesn't take any excitement away from it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys, of everything we spoke about in today's news update. If you enjoyed it, as always, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have a good one.